Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it. Chupacabra.
Hey, fellas.
Hello.
Well, how'd you do?
How's it going?
It's going.
Fancy meeting you guys here.
Yeah, here we are up to the internet. And and we've got a show together this week, and I think it's one of the sillier ones or something.
Boy,
What?
It's dumb.
How dare you?
Yeah.
We are a serious podcast that deals in serious questions.
It's serious matters about serious people and the Bigfoot. And speaking of that, I'm going to start us out with a grand snipe hunt that I hope you all enjoy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take us to review General Conference, the review that nobody's asking for.
That's right. You're going to deep dive into Mormonism that we definitely don't want.
He was recently promoted from Colonel Conference, so congratulations all around.
I am going to try to get us through a little bit more of Exodus, but it is a slog, gentlemen.
A lot like the Jews in the desert, we just can't find our way out.
We're circling around. I think the Lord's leading me in circles. It's very frustrating.
And guys, we need to take a moment to recognize the passing of someone that played a big role in our lives.
No, that's right.
And anyone in the Utah sphere or even the Mormon sphere might recognize this name. So pour a little Sprite out today for the passing of Mr. Mac. Dead. Gone to Kolob at 85. Yes. If you ever were a missionary that needed a super shitty suit that would last 2 years
and that would stop a bullet.
Yeah. If your garment doesn't do it, the outerwear will. So.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, farewell to one of the most prolific TV pitchmen in Utah and
clothier to the worst of all of the fashions.
Long live the Mac.
That's
Mr.
right.
Mac.
So with that bittersweet memory, let's do a show.
Hey, Uncle Doug.
Redacted.
Oh shit. It's all so mysterious now. I don't know. If only. You know what? I'm going to start a science where I search for things that I don't know that Doug might have said, but presume that they might exist.
Right. Yes, Doug, there's so many things Doug has left unsaid. Believe me.
I'm looking for things that I'm pretty sure he has said, but I don't have evidence yet that he said them.
Okay,
is there a way?
Cryptid-ology.
That's right. That's what we're going for.
Yes,
the
the study of Doug's fuck-ups.
Yeah, it's a deep science.
Yes.
Well, one assumes the well is deep.
The well is deep, and like all conspiracies, it ends with the Jews.
Yeah, we're trying to get a few hours on the CERN collider and on the Hubble telescope at the same time, just to establish a baseline.
At the same time,
turn the Hubble toward Switzerland.
Yes, we're going. That's the only safe distance to the CERN at this level of nightmarish bullshit. So
and then grab the level of the collider and just pull it into reverse.
That's right. So, gents, now that we've established this, whatever it is, we've covered quite a few woos out for which to watch on our little corner of the audio internet.
Yeah.
For instance, we've covered trepanation, the drilling of a hole in one's head, naturopathy, the art of doing nothing, homeopathy, which is hoping water remembers some shit, tarot cards, Ouija boards, auras, acupuncture, essential oils, astrology, Gwyneth sneeze the egg out Paltrow, and Deepak fucking Chopra, just to name a few. But aside from being hilarious, pointless, and stupid, what all these things really are is a search, a quest for things unseen, a reach to discover things unknown. And today's woo out for which to watch, we warn our dear listeners, is no different. No, dear uncles, today's woo warning watch out advisory bulletin alert is just such a quest. a quest that should justifiably be narrated by a 1970s Leonard Nimoy. For today's woo is cryptozoology.
Hooray!
Yay!
What is cryptozoology? You are probably asking with understandable reluctance. Why, it is the search for hidden creatures. But isn't that just zoology? You may also be asking. Why?
I may be asking that. You never know.
It sort of is. Zoologists and biologists and paleontologists with real scientific degrees and training discover new creatures living and extinct fairly frequently. But they are a tad different than our friends, the cryptozoologists. If the real scientific training obtained by biologists, paleontologists, and zoologists make them like incredibly good homicide detectives, then cryptozoologists are more like out-of-work mall cops, or maybe super shitty private detectives who sent a self-addressed stamped envelope to Pueblo, Colorado, and got a cool pamphlet on how to do a super secret boy detective stakeout in the bushes. So,
why were they always Pueblo, Colorado? Why
that was the government publishing house. That was where all the pamphlets that you could send away for were published by the government.
Okay, weird.
Yeah, and then it hasn't been the same in Pueblo ever since things went digital, as you can imagine. So, have you ever been to Pueblo? It's kind of a shithole.
I have. I don't know if I have or not.
I don't even believe in Pueblo.
But it believes in you, Dan. So, cryptozoology is rightly labeled a pseudoscience, which is a nice way of saying not a science at all.
Right.
So, cryptozoology is more accurately the intersection of a literal snipe hunt and folklore. The creatures cryptozoologists are searching for are legendary, even mythical. The most popular, of course, we've all heard of, like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and, of course, the Yeti. Cryptozoologists, like most of the conspiracy theorists we've covered on the show, like David Icke or QAnon, etc., start with the presumption that the beast they seek is real and then backfill like crazy to stack, air quotes, facts under their absurd conclusion, very often, in the case of cryptozoology, even faking evidence in their zeal for proof, and more on that in a bit.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you, sir? So, clearly, we've all heard of Bigfoot and Nessie. More on her in just a tick. But who are some of the other questing beasts that bestir the slumbers of so many amateur Steve Irwins? Let's see which exciting cryptid might be right for you. This is wonderful. There's of course, Brosnia, the bronzo water dragon fabled to live in Lake Bronzo in Mother Russia.
Ooh,
Too fishy for you? How about Minhoshao, the 50-meter earthworm? That's right, a 150-foot worm, not in a Frank Herbert novel of Brazilian legend. Not in the mood for earthworm? Meet the Ozark Howler, a huge cat with horns and fiery eyes that haunts the hollers of Arkansas and Missouri by night.
Okay, that one's real.
That's for real. They're all real, Doug. To Howley? Try the Honey Island Swamp Monster, a 7-foot tall, 3-web-toed Sortasquatch that reportedly smells like hell. Too stinky?
I think I dated her, actually.
Too stinky? Maybe the Jersey Devil, variously described as kangaroo-like, a bipedal bat with hooves, and or having the head of either a goat or of a horse and little clawed hands might be right for you.
I know I dated her.
Too bridge and tunnel for you? Why not give the Ogopogo, a 50-foot-long sea serpent that lives in a popular inland water skiing lake here in British Columbia, a gander? Too Canadian? Why not go casting about for the Elwedrich, a giant chicken with lizard scales and antlers on your next hike through southern Germany? Too giant chickeny? Let's get you into an Oli Tiao, the legendary 12-foot giant bat of Central Africa. Not into the Caped Crusader? How about checking out the Swamp Cabbage Man, a huge stinky thing that haunts the swamps of the Florida Panhandle?
Oh, fuck.
Too Florida man for you? How about the Lagafjot worm, a 40-foot slimy lake worm in Iceland, first sighted in 1345 and as recently as 2012? And of course, I would be remiss not to mention local Utah creature of legend, the Spinas rhomnicus melchizedecus, Mitt Romney's long-fabled but never actually seen spine. So you see, guys, every corner of the world has some mystery beast just waiting for a retired American middle school vice principal with a multi-pocketed photographer's vest and a wind-up Super 8 camera to come discover it. But before we leave the Hall of Wondrous Beasts, let's take a second to use maths, yes, the mystical art of maths, to explore the problematic probability of one of the classics, the Loch Ness Monster. So, the beloved but very shy Nessie is thought by those seeking her to be a surviving plesiosaur, a species of carnivorous water beast that, as far as we know, went extinct around 65 million years ago. So, Loch Ness, Douglas and I have been. Dan, I think you've been, haven't you?
No, not yet. I have yet to make it up to Scotland.
Loch Ness is a very lovely, but not enormous, freshwater lake in a valley that has been inhabited by humans, well, Scottish people, for a minimum of 20,000 years. So, lots of eyes have long observed the lake, and there probably hasn't been a single day in those thousands of years that someone hasn't fished on it. So let's say somehow Loch Ness got cut off from the sea somewhere before 65 million years ago. Okay, fine. And let's take a stab at the average lifespan of a plesiosaur being 20 years, because I have no idea. So that's 5 generations, and probably nobody else does. So that's 5 generations of plesiosaurs per 100 years. So that's 650,000 generations of motherfucking dinosaurs in this little lake. So the story of Noah teaches us that you need 2 of a thing to make another of the same thing. So multiply that by 2. But anyone who hasn't read Genesis knows you require a subset of, at barest minimum, 10 breeding pairs to preserve the slightest genetic diversity. So let's imagine there were at minimum 10 male and 10 female, big-ass goddamn plesiosaurs in this wee Scottish lake at all times for the past 65 million years. Leaving aside the stupendous volume of smaller fish and sea mammals these carnivorous, crocodile-sized creatures would need to consume all day, every day in this medium-big lake for 65 million years, let's do the maths. This lovely Highland lake, just 67 short miles in circumference, must contain 65 million plesiosaur skeletons, many thousands of which would have to range from, say, 5 to 500 years old, so they should just be lying about just like regular old fish skeletons all over the place. This gigantinormous fuckton of evidence should be discoverable by anyone with a snorkel and 30 wet minutes to spare. So
you're not taking into account that the plesiosaurus's very favorite snack time meal is other plesiosaur bones.
Oh, there it is.
They love to eat. Yes, there's the evidence is self-annihilating.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, fair warning, don't go in Loch Ness with a snorkel for 30 minutes and for an hour after you've eaten. I just think that's best practices. So,
okay, thank you.
Anyone believing in cryptids still existing in an overrun world has just this sort of algebra to overcome before they screw their first motion-activated camera to a tree. So let's leave the very improbable Nessie in her chilly, wet bone pile for the moment. Cryptids, it turns out, are no more hilarious and wonderful than the rogues gallery of those who seek them. But unlike cryptids, this menagerie of ham radio operators and monoatomic gold enthusiasts are actually real. Shall we meet some of the big brains of the cryptozoology movement, fellas?
Let's.
I'm worried.
Yes, you should be terribly worried. The air quotes science of cryptozoology was declared in the 1950s by 2 actual zoologists, Bernard Heuvelmans and Ivan T. Sanderson. But as we learned with Sir Isaac Newton also being an alchemist, or with Prince also being a Jehovah's Witness, you can be amazingly right about one thing and have a whole lot of screws loose about other things. So first, Bernard Heuvelmans. Born in 1916, real zoologist Heuvelman wrote On the Track of Unknown Animals in 1958, which is the most influential work in this exciting field. In addition to earning his doctorate in zoology from the University of Brussels, Heuvelman escaped a Nazi death camp in World War II and survived until the end of the war as a jazz singer in Paris, and he was considered the greatest expert on the teeth of aardvarks in his lifetime. All true.
Wow.
And all connected, but I'm not going to tell you how.
It's all connected. And this is just the beginning, fellas. Of his seminal book, real science writer David Quammen said, Heuvelman's On the Track of Unknown Animals is heavily researched and encyclopedic, but contains leaps of credulity that leave a skeptical reader behind. He also wrote that Heuvelman was known for making overstated claims. Next up, Heuvelmann's co-crypto founder, Scotsman Ivan T. Sanderson. Sanderson's father was a whiskey distiller who was killed by a rhinoceros when Sanderson was a boy. You can color that in any way you want, but it's true. Sanderson served as a counterintelligence. Sorry, no. You know when you're researching this stuff and you're like, oh my God, really? It's just fantastic.
Was the rhinoceros in Scotland?
No, he went on a trip to Africa, but I wish it was. So Sanderson served as a counterintelligence agent for the British Navy in the Caribbean in World War II and went on to become the first of the TV animal men. You know the guys, those guys who take exotic creatures on the late night shows to freak out the hosts?
Oh, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
He was the first guy to do that. And he even opened an exotic animal roadside zoo attraction in a real place called Monunkachunk, New Jersey.
I'm calling bullshit on all of this. I'm sorry.
I swear it's true.
Uncle Mark is just a liar, and we've caught him now.
He's just so after his time in Monunkachunk, he eventually turned his sights towards creatures of myth and legend. He claimed to have been attacked by the aforementioned Ali Tiao in Africa, a being he described as the granddaddy of all bats. So, next
After
up,
what happened to his dad, he still went back to Africa?
Right?
Learn a
I know.
lesson, Jesus.
Yeah, like so. Honestly, this. I hope Christopher Guest is listening to this segment. Please make a movie about these people. Please.
Let me audition. Let
Yeah,
me
exactly.
audition for it. You have to. You got it
Dan
from
wants
us.
to open a zoo in Monunkachunk. So, next up, and this guy's a beauty, American John Eric Beckyard. So, after earning an MBA from UC Berkeley in 1966, Beckyard went to work as a city planner, but soon realized he needed to dedicate his life to finding the Bigfoot instead. A man of small self-regard, he would frequently appear on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM radio program. We've talked about
boy.
Art Bell before. Comparing himself to Galileo, Louis Pasteur, and naturally, the Wright brothers.
Hey,
So-
Yeah.
go big or go home.
Go big or go home.
Go
He
Bigfoot
opened
or go home.
He opened a cryptozoology museum in a corner of a restaurant in Malibu, but had to move his collection into storage when the restaurant went out of business. Then the storage unit burned down because, of course, it did. Beckyard was later arrested at the 8th Annual International Society of Cryptozoology meeting in 1989 for sending death threats and harassments to the organizer, with whom he very much disagreed on all things Sasquatch. But luckily was released on bail if he promised to never return to Pullman, Washington, hometown of the president of the American Agricultural Economics Association, Ron C. Middlehammer. So please do not bother emailing me about that. He later swore...
And
he
stay
heard the-
out of Malibu, Lebowski.
That's exactly right.
Get back to Chunky Monkey.
Get back to Monunkachunk. He later swore he heard the voice of a Bigfoot say to him, and I quote, "We are not what you think we are. We're here, but we're not real, like what you think is real." End quote.
Wow. If ever anyone's delusions, like, I love the thought of someone's delusions actually telling that person, dude, we're not real. Just
Not like
get
you think
over
anyway.
us.
He also said he saw a Bigfoot on the road 200 feet in front of him, walking with a, and again I quote, loose limbo dance style. And later, he saw one eating apricots near beautiful Vacaville, California, the hometown of Papa Roach lead singer Jacoby Shaddix. Coincidence? It's too explosive a revelation not to not be. So, back to Beckyard. He later declared the Loch Ness Monster was a space alien's abandoned pet. I'm going to get through this. With a face like a cat and a body that, please believe that I'm actually quoting here again, looks like a cross between Halley's Comet and the Concorde jet. So sadly, Sadly, the world lost this spectacular weirdo when he succumbed to prostate cancer in 2008. If there's any justice in this world, his ashes would be scattered over Pullman, Washington in one final glorious act of defiance. So I could go on forever with these fabulous loons, including the very controversial Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, who claimed to have caught the Bigfoot on that infamous bit of film from 1967 that shook the cryptozoological universe.
Yeah.
But let's conclude the biography section with one Rick Dyer. Dyer is an odd fellow, so nothing like the rest of this bunch.
Right.
He claimed in 2008 to have the body of a Bigfoot he dragged out of the North Georgia hills. He presented it at a bizarre news conference, frozen in a huge block of ice.
Oh, my God.
So that no one can examine.
Yeah.
But when the owner of thehorrordome.com, an online Halloween retailer, commented that it looked like a Bigfoot costume they sold, Dyer came clean that it was indeed a Halloween costume he'd stuffed with possum guts.
Oh, my God.
He then claimed some men in black came and confiscated it, because of course they did.
Right, because the government agencies always need the stuff that the wackadoos have invented.
And how, I'm sure you've done the math on this, Mark. How many possums does it take to stuff a man-sized suit full of their guts?
It seems like the calibration was off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I would pick an animal of similar scale, but you'll soon see that Dyer is not in.
Here's the thing. Possums, dead possums are aplenty. All you have to do is, just take a ride down whatever interstate or country highway you got, and you just scoop them up. You get,
well, they're killed by
20,
the Sasquatches.
You get 20 or 30 of them, and you got yourself a big.
Got yourself a stew, baby.
You can stuff a gorilla suit. So 4 years later, Dyer claimed that he lured a Bigfoot into an ambush by nailing pork ribs he bought at Walmart to trees near San Antonio, Texas, hometown of another infamous pork rib enthusiast, President Lyndon B. Johnson. Again, too explosive a rabbit hole to safely spelunk in this segment. Dyer claims the special barbecue sauce enticed the Bigfoot, whom he then shot twice. He said, air quotes, a university tested the DNA and found it, air quotes, unknown. It's not related to anything. That's how DNA works.
Yeah.
So he toured the body in a coffin with a plexiglass lid around the U.S. This was just a few years ago, guys.
Oh, my God.
Charging the credulous $10 each to see it, netting a slim $500,000 in the process.
Holy shit.
After attacking and slandering anyone who voiced doubts, a group of very hopeful and very suspicious Bigfoot enthusiasts confronted him and demanded the truth, which was it was a prosthetic he had made by a novelty shop. So,
and stuffed full of mice guts.
Stuff full of cricket guts. So, caught twice ridiculously fabricating Bigfoots, Dyer took to his Facebook page writing, and I quote, "From this moment on, I will speak the truth. No more lies, tall tales, or wild goose chases to mess with the haters. I never treated anyone bad. I'm a joker. I play around. That's me. Coming clean about everything is necessary for a new start." So I guess he's turned over a new leaf, and under which probably found a Sasquatch costume. So Dyer is one of the more reckless hoaxers connected to cryptozoology, but far from the only one. Faking evidence is fairly endemic in this quest for the shaggy, foul-smelling Holy Grail. So this bio section should tell you exactly how seriously to take this exciting field of not science practiced by crazy people and frauds. And while it's easy to laugh, very easy to laugh at all this poppycock, there are earnest believers in these superficially preposterous ideas. But as we talk about all the time, there are reasons that people believe in absurd things, even some really smart people. So I had a bit of a tender moment for these hopeful souls when I came across this quote from folklorist Peter Dendel in my research on the subject. Dendel writes, "Cryptozoology devotees consciously position themselves in defiance of mainstream science. The psychological significance of cryptozoology in the modern world serves to channel guilt over the decimation of species and destruction of the natural habitat, to recapture a sense of mysticism and danger in the world, now perceived as fully charted and overexplored, and to articulate resentment of and defiance against a scientific community perceived as monopolizing the pool of culturally acceptable beliefs.
Right.
So, we all know conspiracy theorists revel in the idea that they know better than the eggheads with all their learning and degrees and shit, right?
Of course. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. But the part of Dendel's quote that struck me was the other bit. Kind of the genuinely sweet yearning for a world that's as big as it used to be, that such wild places still exist that are vast enough to hide a 50-meter earthworm or giant man-apes, and ultimately to live on a planet whose every square inch has not been crushed under someone's boot or logged on Google Earth. And I love that idea too, yeah? So I shall try to temper my laughter at the rare sighting of an actual cryptozoologist in the wild with a more humanist appreciation that what underlies their belief is a desire for a greener, cleaner world less fucked over by us. But before we move on, I have a confession to make, my dearest uncles. Your beloved Uncle Mark has tasted of the forbidden fruits of cryptozoological subterfuge.
What?
It's true. Did you not? I'm a hoaxer.
You are a hoaxer.
Let me explain. In the early 2000s, general poverty forced me to take a movie project I very much should not have. It was obviously going to be a disaster from the first phone call, but I was broke, so off to rural Idaho in the middle of winter I went. It was this baffling horror movie with no money, and the first-time director was trying to pull off a crazy ambitious idea, which was, you know how Christopher Guest does with his amazing improv comedy actors, where there really isn't a script. He just tells them they have to get from point A to point B by the end of a scene.
Right.
So it results in Waiting for Guffman-style genius. Well, this wasn't a comedy, and the very amateur hacks we had were nothing like improv geniuses. So by day 2, the whole thing had lost whatever thread it never had. Anyway, there was supposed to be this Native American legendary monster, but there was no money to make it. Like, we literally could never show the monster. So the director ordered me to do something that I rightly knew even then would be the low point of my career. I bought some snowshoes, some mattress foam, and some fabric. And after an evening in the workshop, I stood before God and all my peers in a snowy Idaho forest atop 2 hilariously terrible hoaxing feet, questioning every single life decision that had delivered me to this frigid humiliation. He commanded, "Run!" And so I kind of did. I mean, the feet were like 32 inches long, so I wasn't so much of a run, but a slow hop as I tried to gain enough forward momentum to hop again. So let me share some technical experience with any would-be Sasquatch hoaxers out there. Not you, Rick Dyer, you're a joke. When you spread 175 pounds of shamed film guy over 32-inch long by 16-inch wide monster feet, you don't make that much of an impression in the snow. Maybe just 3/8 of an inch. And it only gets a little deeper when a furious German director commands you to piggyback a 200-pound grip around in the snowbank with you. Word to the wise. So that's cryptozoology, guys, complete with a deeply shameful personal experience there at the end.
We're going to be in trouble. Somebody's going to send us a chupacabra now. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, there you go. Get out there, people. Look around. Scout the forest. You're going to find something.
Well, that's certainly something.
Yeah. You know, the sad thing about the cryptozoology is that the second you find the thing that you've been looking for, it's no longer a mystery.
Yeah,
and then that would ruin it. So it's good that they never find the thing.
Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Leave Nessie alone.
Well, shall we?
Let's move along.
Wow.
Hey, Uncle Mark.
Yes.
Do you know what the best part of our childhood was for me?
I mean, this could go on all day. I'm just...
It was a delightful, happy time.
Yeah, being a kid in Mormonism was like going to the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
10 years after it had closed.
With scary tunnel movie and all, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right. And you got to do that every week. But then...
Yeah.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
If you were so lucky, you got plopped down in front of TV for what some families called pajama church.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And you had to watch you had to have even more time with church.
Yeah.
But it was the most important members of the church. It was the big dogs.
Yeah.
And,
That's right.
And that was somehow special. Well, Uncle Doug, you are, I don't know, is this a masochist streak that you've decided to embark on?
Yes,
or?
kind of. While Uncle Mark was joyously giggling about cryptobiology or zoology, I was in the trenches. I was out on the street pounding the pavement. For some reason, this has become my beat. I don't know why. But
you self-selected this. We have not sent you there.
I did. It's my duty, and sometimes duties can be messy. So, as Uncle Dan said, twice a year, Mormons embark on their version of the Hodge, gathering in vast numbers in Salt Lake City to listen to a parade of old men prattle on about a world where unctuous, saccharine, and mayonnaise are the only words in the English language. And as I've said before, these gatherings are utterly pointless and really only cause a dangerous depletion of Utah's strategic sherbet reserves.
We weren't going to talk about the sherbet reserves, Doug. It's our little secret.
That's right. Only we know where the key is.
There's
In the
plenty.
vaults
It's the vault in the mountain. We've got an entire thing.
This latest pointlessness happened last week, and in the weirdly corporatized language of the Mormon religion, this gathering is referred to as the Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Right.
This one being the 189th.
You can shorten it just to conference if you want.
That's what I will do from now on.
I don't know why I think of this, but it's super weird that Mormons tend to fall for mid-level marketing schemes at the rate
Right.
they do. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know why I thought of that, but I just did.
Right.
Proceed.
Like every conference, this one didn't really have a theme, because how can a loose collection of exaggerated anecdotes and strained metaphors have a theme?
Yeah.
But for a handful of hours on a couple of weekends a year, around 10 million Mormons from all around the world are watching the same thing. So, did the Mormon leadership use this opportunity to rally their flock to take action on the climate or the border crisis, where many of the victims are even Mormon? Did they call on all Mormons to address the climate crisis by making changes in their daily lives? Did they encourage their many millions of followers to do anything of tangible value to make the world a better place at all? Nope. If there was a theme to this asinine assembly, it can be summed up by this joke told by Terrence M. Vinson, quote, "What we need here is less Wi-Fi and more Nephi."
Oh, God.
I saw that online, and I thought it was somebody being cheeky, but he really said that?
He said that. So for our Nevermo listeners out there, right? Nephi is a pivotal character in the Book of Mormon. Yes, we have seen the enemy, and it is social media.
Oh, my God.
But before we dive into the content of the conference, I have a funny story. Since I live only a couple of miles from Mormon Ground Zero, I decided on Saturday to go down to Temple Square and see all the protesters and all the Mormons, just kind of get a feel. I got to the conference center about 15 minutes before the session ended, and the police had blocked off the entire street for a whole block. And there were heavily armed police everywhere. It was like Manchester United was going to play Arsenal.
Why would they? Why?
I don't know. It was heavily. I don't know if there was a threat or something. I don't know.
No, it's always like that.
Yeah. So of course those super wiggy evangelical protesters were there. The ones you see at every gay pride parade with their giant signs that say things like "Sinners, Mormons, atheists, abortionists, heretics, all go to hell."
Yep.
To which I could only worry that I was on that list like 4 times.
Doug, you can do better than that.
Yeah,
Gotta get some more points on the board.
I'm going for the whole list.
Yeah.
I was walking past a couple of these guys, and one of them asked me if I read the Bible. And I said, "Actually, I do." He said, "Hallelujah, salvation, brother." I couldn't help myself, so I said, "Well, it's not working because I'm an atheist."
You dumb idiot.
I took the bait.
Engaged.
So we got into a very friendly discussion about God, and he got onto a jag about how DNA and the first law of thermodynamics prove the existence of God.
Wave off. Wave off.
I disagreed.
Wait, this is one of the screamers you're talking.
Yeah,
this is
I'm talking to this screamer guy. We're having a conversation. Like there's no Mormons around because conference is still on. It's about to let out. And at one point, he said that DNA was in the Bible, and I'm like, I need to see that.
Yeah, show me.
So he grabbed.
technically, he's right. Those 3 letters do appear in the Bible several times.
Yes,
And I've definitely seen Bibles that have DNA in them.
I have deposited my own DNA in the Bible.
I don't believe that for a second.
So I said, okay, I got to see that. So he grabbed his Bible and started trying to thumb through it to some psalm or something. But he was struggling to get through his Bible and hold his giant sign at the same time. So I said, here, I'll hold on to that for you. And he handed it to me. So there I was, standing outside Temple Square with a giant anti-Mormon sign.
Did you get a picture of it?
No, I didn't. He would have done
dummy.
He totally would have done it. But
no.
I thought to myself, well, my life has come full circle. I was
This
really
just
hoping.
happened.
Yeah, right. I was really hoping I'd see somebody I knew, but anyway.
Yeah, you peaked. You pinnacled right
I know,
there.
right? So, without further delay, let's get into the heat of the meat. Before every conference, there are rumblings on Mormon Twitter and Reddit that this time something really big is going to happen. And although it never does, it only makes the anticipation more acute.
Yeah.
This conference was no exception, with Mormon general authorities teasing something big. Uncles, prepare to be disappointed. Well, we'll get into the furious reshuffling of the deck chairs in a minute, but first, I want to introduce some of the spiritual heavyweights that spoke at this cocked-up caucus. But because Uncle Dan is a stickler about copyright issues, I can't play Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project.
That's right.
But I want all of our listeners to pause this podcast, open Spotify, and cue up that song.
Okay.
Go ahead. We'll wait. Okay, here we go.
It's not only Uncle Dan, it is also our lawyer, P. Andrew Torres, who told you not to do that.
That's right.
So just to be clear.
All right, listeners, hit play now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 189th General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now let's meet the starting lineup for your Mad Men of Mormonism, featuring speeches from the likes of Brooke, Never Fails Hales, Dieter Donkey Dong Uchtdorf, Stephen Rock and Roll Holland, presided over by Dallin the Hammer Oaks, with special appearances by the man himself, Russell the Muscle Nelson.
Wait, you didn't end that with, let's get ready to Mormon!
Let's get ready to mumble!
All right, everybody, stop playing the music.
Oh, my God.
So I watched the entire conference because that's how much I care
I
about
got to
you.
turn the smoke machine off. 1 sec. It's like I can't even see my computer.
Can I just interject just really quickly? Sorry, this is totally off subject, but I just Googled protesters Mormon General Conference and then hit the image search because I wanted to see some of their signs. And the 5th image is me. When I went for Thank God I'm Atheist, and I was holding up a sign that said, ask me how much fun I've had since I realized God is fake.
That's awesome. So you're there,
totally
but Doug
awesome.
isn't.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
We
sorry.
gotta rectify that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched the whole thing because I care that much about you, dear listeners. And it was
There's Dan. Yep, sorry. I'm just Googled it. There he is.
Everybody
standing
Google it.
next to a bagpiper. Of
I
all
am
things.
indeed. That's true.
You were standing danger close to a bagpipe.
That's right. It was watching conference. It was impossible to stay focused. Confession: when at work, I really need to buckle down on something. I'll often put on ambient electronic trance music on Spotify. And Mormon conference is kind of like EDM. It's droning, repetitive, impossible to distinguish from itself, and ultimately useless.
And would be improved with the presence of a glow stick.
Exactly. But I tried. And I found that if I didn't write something down that someone said immediately, it would fade from my memory within seconds.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a bad dream.
I think it's designed like that.
I think so, too.
It bounces off of you and then knocks you unconscious.
And I just want to take a second to talk about the organ. Can we all agree that this organ is nothing more than a hoax by Big Organ to keep the stock price inflated?
You just said big organ.
There are 5 keyboards with buttons underneath each of them, 2 preposterous panels of stops on either side, and fucking pedals. I would believe that any of those things had a purpose if any 2 hymns sounded different. It's all one
Right.
fucking song.
It's easier to operate the Millennium Falcon than that fucking thing.
I feel like Rowdy Roddy Piper and They Live. It's a hoax, people. The organ is a hoax. Okay. All right, moving on.
What are all those pipes about that?
That's just bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's a fake.
My
They're all
cousin's
phallic
an
symbols,
organist.
For fuck's sake, guys. Read a symbolism.
Okay, so let us talk about the choir for a second. Being one of the only musical acts besides Three Doors Down to play at President Trump's inaugural, they have also played for the inaugurations of Nixon, Reagan, and both Bushes. So there's that.
There you go.
They are a group of 360 people that are best viewed from a distance. From a distance, they have a definite North Korea vibe going on, which is at least impressive. However, close up, they are a steady on early onset diabetes and eczema. And throughout their performances, the camera would push into what I assume were the pick of the litter to an uncomfortable proximity. Anyway. And they all do that thing that people do who are not just singing, but selling, where they have that insane wide-eyed faux passion that just makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
Anywho.
You're talking about the choir formerly known as the Mormon Tabernacle
Yes, that's right.
Choir.
It's the choir at Temple Square. Now.
Yeah, the choir at City Creek Mall, Inc. TM. I always, so not to interrupt you, Doug, but I always notice that they assiduously push in on the 2 or 3 choir members of any color other than
yes,
that's absolutely right.
Northern European white.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even if one of them went on a vacation and is particularly tan that week, they'll settle.
It's like the Republican National Convention. If you're black, you are going to be featured.
You're getting on TV.
So the individual speeches were of zero value and unremarkable in every way. I mean, you did have David A. Bednar meandering through a metaphor about cheetahs on the savannah, complete with an accompanying cartoon. Dieter F. Uchtdorf unironically quoting The Hobbit and Harry Potter, both works of imagination far superior to the Book of Mormon.
And witchcraft.
That's right. There was one true milestone that only serves to reiterate the retrograde nature of this religion. Elder Peter M. Johnson from New York became the first black person in the 189-year history of Mormonism to speak at General Conference.
You're saying that they've now got a general authority who both of his names are a euphemism for penis?
That's right. And his middle name is Member. Yeah, he's the first black person. There have been a smattering of Asians, Pacific Islanders, and Hispanics that have had that honor, but never an African American. It's 2019.
Yeah.
Apparently, racial progress for Mormons is a lot like getting into a hot tub. Yeah. You do it very slowly. And did Elder Peter M. Johnson give a stirring speech about all his unique perspectives on race and address the fact that all the other ambulatory corpses seated behind him were sitting exactly there when he would not have been allowed in the building? Nope. He just gave another anodyne regurgitation of banal talking points that could have been delivered by any Mormon at any other conference. But, progress. By and large, it's hard to emphasize the utter lack of meaningful content on display. I watched entire speeches and instantaneously forgot what was said, who was speaking, and how my life had come to this.
It's impossible. I'm with you, Doug. It's impossible to focus on it. The times that on TGIA, Dan and Frank have asked me to do a conference thing with them. If I cannot give it 100% of 5 fat rails of Adderall attention, I cannot. It just slips down the cracks of my brain and it's gone. Like a storm
passes
brain.
you like a breeze. It's crazy.
A lot of it is due to the this has gotten a little bit better since we were kids, but there is the Mormon General Conference cadence.
Yes,
that is like coma inducing. My dear brothers and sisters,
I don't think
this beautiful day we come before you.
It may not be intentional, fully cognizant of why they do that, but I think the effect of it is remarkable. I think it does kind of put you into a hypnotic state. And so that's why else continue it,
right?
Yeah, then you've got, for a week and a half afterwards, you've just got Mormon zombies who are absolutely convinced that they've heard something gorgeous and beautiful and faith affirming, and then they sort of shake out of it and go about their daily lives after
That's right.
that.
Yeah.
There were, however, some policy changes that were announced, so let's dig into that.
Oh, goody.
The first one was actually teased out a week ago to help pump up the hype. Going forward, I know, right? Going forward, women can now be witnesses for baptisms and sealings. That's right.
How about
something
that?
for the ladies?
Oh yeah. And the thing that they now have authority to do is watch.
That's right. So
They get to see a thing.
a little background for our Nevermos out there. Mormons believe in baptism by immersion. That is to say, in order for it to be valid, the victim must be completely submerged. This is so important to Mormons that at every baptism there are 2 witnesses present to ensure that your toe doesn't pop out, imperiling your immortal soul.
Yes.
Or even your clothes, right?
That's right.
Like, not every, and you're in clothes.
And it's so important.
This is why they should do it naked,
Done.
because the clothes could float up and ruin it.
If you were surprised to learn that women were not allowed until now to fulfill this crucial task, you are not alone. Like so much of the church's attempt at modernization, it only serves to remind everyone how backward they truly are.
Yeah.
So enjoy, ladies. You are still considered
Well-
second-class citizens and expected to serve as humble helpmeets and mobile uteruses to your husbands, but at least now you can get closer to a ritual dunking.
Well, I think you guys are kind of bullshit laughing at this. I think this is what the suffragettes were fighting for, right? Is the ability to stand there and make sure somebody gets fully wet.
That's right.
It only took 100 years.
That's right. Then on Sunday during the final session, all of the changes came fast and furious. A little warning to our listeners. Those of you who know nothing about the Mormon Church are going to think that I'm having a stroke. And those of you who are familiar are about to be triggered. So here we go. Here are all the changes announced. A new young women's theme was introduced, and I will not read it, except to say that it was clearly written by men and written in a corporate boardroom.
Yeah.
Young men presidencies at the ward level will be discontinued and their responsibilities folded into the bishopric.
How about that? Huh?
The names
That's
of the
a big
young
one.
women's groups Beehive, Maya Maid, and Laurel will be discontinued. Each young women's group will have a class presidency. The terms mutual and auxiliary in reference to certain church organizations will no longer be used.
I'm going to correct you. The word is mutual.
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 Various responsibilities of various church organizations too granular to bear mentioning will be shuffled around. Young men's presidents along with stake Sunday school presidents will now be members of the Stake High Council. The temple worthiness questions that we covered back in episode 89 were changed, but the changes were so marginal that I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Can I just interject here and just say, for those of you who are not following any of this, which is everybody, I need you to understand, I had Mormon friends on Facebook after this all was announced going, what did they just say? I understood literally none of that, and they're Mormons.
Right.
So
Wow.
as meaningless as this is to you, it was equally meaningless, or at least confusing, to the people to whom for whom this was supposed to make sense.
You know what this is like, guys? Is so this new quote unquote prophet Russell M. Nelson has come in with a flurry of what he calls revelations that are the equivalent of, if you've ever seen David Miscavige talking about how they found 78 syntax errors and mispunctuations in Dianetics, so everybody has to buy the whole set again.
Right.
And everybody's cheering and excited. Like, this is literally, there was not an Oxford comma in the right. It's such nothing.
Yeah.
Utterly
And I guess
nothing.
that's the best. As long as they're busy doing nothing, maybe less people get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so, if you're concerned out there that no organization can make such consequential and important changes in a matter of mere weeks, don't worry. They've given themselves until January 1st, 2020 to get all this done.
Okay, good.
Wow.
So I can still call a niece a Maya maid
For a few more months.
For a few more
Yeah.
months. Or a beehive. A human being known as a beehive.
Or a laurel. The fuck is that?
Yeah.
Okay, to wrap up this review, in his concluding remarks, Church President Russell M. Nelson already got the hype going for the next General Conference in April, which will be the 200th anniversary, depending on the version you're using, of Joseph Smith's first vision, ushering in the age of Mormonism. Of that conference, he said, quote, General Conference next April will be different from any previous conference. In the next 6 months, I hope that every member of every family will prepare for a unique conference that will commemorate the very foundations of the gospel that has been restored to us. There you go. Unless that next conference is broadcast from a departing spaceship, I call bullshit.
Well,
Please do.
I'm suddenly thinking you recapped the wrong conference. You should have waited.
Well, I'll be here for the next one.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
God
get
willing.
your tickets now, right? I mean,
Right.
it's going to sell out.
All right.
God. Well, I don't know if I should say thank you, Uncle Doug. So instead, I'll just say Shall we move on?
Well, it's like so many of our segments are really, truly about nothing, and this one is no different. So,
Hooray!
Let's move on.
Well, fellas,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a fun thing happened this last week, and it is something that only patrons were able to see
Oh, or here.
or hear.
Yeah.
rather.
Yes.
And that is the rarest of flubs made it into the patrons only feed.
Yeah.
Yes.
on our show. So what I'm trying to get at here is you never know what's going to happen. Now, it was cleaned up pretty quick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
You heard some of our backstage drama.
Some
And,
behind the scenes.
yeah.
And it was pretty ugly. Like, it was quite ugly. So if you were
But at
lucky
some
enough to hear
point-
that.
At some point, we should release some back behind the scenes stuff just for patrons only. Anyway, patrons only content could be coming. You never know.
Yeah.
And the only way to find out,
Maybe one day intentionally.
yeah, exactly. And the only way to find out is to do what the people I'm about to list have done, which is to go on to our Patreon. They go to the How to Heretic, not the, but just howtoheretic.com, and they click on the Patreon, the support us thing, takes you to Patreon. You just sign up at whatever level you're comfortable,
Yep.
or whatever level you're uncomfortable but still willing to give.
Yeah.
And
A little
then
discomfort is good. A little discomfort is good.
make it hurt. It's
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean? It's a Buddhist thing. It's Mother Teresa said that the pain of the suffering of the people was what brought them closer to Jesus.
Yeah,
So
there's no pleasure without pain. So we want you to have pleasure. We want you to have a lot of pleasure.
so make it hurt when you give to us. And to that end, we have much thanks to some people. Those include Jezbal, Allison, etc. Martin, Sarah, and Doubting Thomas himself.
Doubting Thomas himself. And don't forget Greg W. is there as well.
Greg W. Who actually, yes. All right. And we love each and every one of you so much.
With all our hearts.
Yeah.
More a little bit than the rest of our listeners, though only by a smidge.
As we've
That's
said, our
right.
love is for sale.
That's right.
And if you want some of that love, just keep pumping those 5 stars, people. Go to Patreon, go to Stitcher, or Patreon, go to iTunes, Mark, what the fuck? Go to Stitcher, wherever you can give us 5 stars, 10 if you can afford it, because it's all free. Doesn't cost you a damn
That's
nickel.
right.
So
Go to MySpace. Go to LinkedIn. Go to Grindr. 5 stars.
that's right. Go to the Thrifty Nickel. Just keep hitting the button. Give us 5 stars. We love you. We love you no matter what. And let's continue.
Indeed.
Well, Uncle Doug,
Here am I.
have you ever just wanted to leave something?
Like this podcast.
Ouch.
Have you ever felt like you're wandering in a segment for 40 years? And 40 nights?
that hurts. That all of this feels like attacks on me. I feel attacked.
It's anti-Semitic is what it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's anti-Semitic. And so I think, Uncle Dan, you have yet another installment of the great vacay that never happened.
The actual never-ending story.
Right. Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
This is Exodus again, and in the ever increasing installments, this is yet another installment in the world of Exodus.
Yeah.
So
Part
here's
3.
what-
We're at part 3 today, right?
Part 3, that's right. So here's what we have so far. The God of Israel, the powerful I Am, in his great and unmatched wisdom, has decided to embark on a campaign of truly nasty pranks on his chosen people.
Yeah.
His theory seems to be that if he's worse to their Egyptian captors, the Israelites will take whatever shit he throws at them and thank him for it.
Yeah. Those two, like the God and the Israelites, are that couple that and all they do is fight? And you're like, what the fuck are you doing together? That's them.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Just break up. Just
Listen,
break up.
the pranks launch with God telling slow of speech Moses that he's the new mouthpiece of all Israel, sending him to command possibly the most powerful man in the world, Pharaoh, to change everything about how his society operates, but then purposefully hardening Pharaoh's heart to make sure that Moses is guaranteed to fail. The pranks include meeting Moses on his way to Pharaoh, almost killing him for no reason, and only deciding not to after Moses' quick-thinking wife whips out a sharp stone and circumcises their son right there in the motel lobby, thus apparently confusing the Lord and putting him off his appetite for murder.
Yeah.
There are a series of plagues that are meant to show off how cool God is to Pharaoh, but end up fucking with everybody. And then finally, the Israelites are allowed to leave, and God sends them to the desert, tells them to eat shitty bread, and then walks them in a circle so that Pharaoh can go after them again.
Yeah.
But don't worry. The Lord did the trick thing with the parting of the sea and killed the entire Egyptian military force. So cool, that's where we left off. The Israelites have followed Moses into the desert, and Pharaoh can't do shit to them. Hooray! But wait, you may have caught on to a problem with this happy ending. There are more than 1 million people wandering around in the middle of the desert, and the Lord seems to have stopped guiding them with his pillar of clouds. That's probably okay, because the Lord's directions have proven to be nothing but tricks and dick moves so far, but it's not awesome because now they're basically directionless in the desert.
God is kind of like that Apple update that navigated people into lakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, also, like, this whole story, just the column of cloud, is predicated on the idea that people are willing to walk toward a tornado.
Right,
So
yeah. Well,
that makes sense.
They didn't know much better.
No, and can I just
They were
a
a
little
simple
point of
people.
Little point of order that just remember for the kids following along at home that Pharaoh, most powerful man in the world, believed by many to be Ramses II in this story, is the grandson of Ham and Egyptus, passengers on Noah's Ark. Proceed.
Right.
Yeah, and it definitely, by the way, just we should point out, was not Ramses II. That is absolutely not the case.
Right.
So Moses wisely leads everybody into the barren wasteland known as the Desert of Shur. This is the space in modern Egypt between the two northern prongs of the Red Sea. And here's something weird. They couldn't find water. Who would have thunk? Keep in mind that the Red Sea itself, which is huge and surrounds them, is saltier than the ocean, so they can't drink that. So, for 3 days, they can't find any fresh water, and strangely, this caused the Israelites to start grumbling. It's funny. Here's the thing. Throughout this story, the Bible really tries to paint this huge group of people blindly following a prophet in the desert as a bunch of whiny, mercurial assholes. Mm-hmm. Well, you follow a leader into the desert and find no water for 3 days and see how faithful you start to feel.
Right.
Anywho, they finally find a water source. Yay! But the water is bitter, a.k.a. undrinkable, so significantly less yay. So, more grumbling, and then Moses cries out to the Lord, probably saying something along the lines of, "What the fuck, Lord? You told me to bring everybody out here, and now you make us suffer? I shouldn't have to beg you for water every time we get thirsty." And the Lord saves them. He tells Moses to throw a stick into the water, and then it's all better. Frankly,
Okay.
I don't know why Moses didn't think of that to begin with. The old stick in the water to purify it trick.
Yeah,
And
everybody knows that.
If God could just change it, why does he need the silly ritual?
Look, we'll discuss this later, but basically, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I will explain it.
Okay.
I should have put that paragraph earlier on, but
That's okay.
we'll get to that.
I'm sure it's all going to make sense eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the Lord, like the gaslighting, abusive spouse that Uncle Mark insinuated that he is, said this: "If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Basically, if you would just do what I told you, I wouldn't have to hate you.
Right.
Also, anything good that happens is because I'm amazing. Anything bad that happens is your fault.
Is God brushing Moses' face with the back of his hand right now?
Right, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, did somebody hit you?
Moses always has a black eye.
Right, exactly. But he always apologizes for it and says it's his fault.
I'm so clumsy. Okay, we're making jokes about domestic abuse. It's really cool. Let's continue.
Listen, There is no worse domestic abuser than the Lord God of the Old Testament.
Oh,
right?
for sure. He is the Mac Daddy OG domestic abuser.
He is the prime example of it.
Yeah.
Then he guides them to a lovely oasis with 12 springs and 70 palm trees. So nice, I guess.
So many trees.
Yeah, you don't even have to throw in a stick for this water, so that's great.
Why did somebody have to count the fucking trees?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you, Ezekiel, go count the trees.
No water.
Feels like there's a lot
the
here.
trees.
Yeah. And then they pressed on through an area known as the Desert of Sin, which just sounds lovely, doesn't it? Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but while we've had all this talk about water, nobody seems to have mentioned that humans also need food.
Right.
And all of that unleavened bread dough that we talked about last week can only last so long.
Is this the cannibalism segment of Exodus here?
It should be. We're now a month and a half into their journey, and those pesky million people have started grumbling again.
This is 6 weeks, no food.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Chapter 16, verse 3, the Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death."
That seems reasonable.
A valid fucking complaint, if you ask me. But the Lord's response to this is partly cloudy with a chance of bread. Literally, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. Oh, goody. And then he upped the ante. There will be meat in the evening and bread in the morning.
Did the meat rain from the sky as well?
Well, sort of. It
Yikes.
ran in from the sides.
Oh.
That evening, suddenly, there were a shit ton of quail. Yeah, so.
I didn't say what meat.
Yeah, exactly.
You're kidding me.
It's a joke on you. It's quail. All through the camp.
A quail, a bird which requires as many calories to eat as it provides.
Right. To prepare and catch, probably. Right.
I didn't realize that Cornish game hen was in the Bible, but now...
exactly.
Yeah.
And apparently they were all super easy to catch because everybody got to eat some.
Yeah.
Then the next morning, a miracle happened. There was a layer of dew all around the camp, and when the dew dried, there were thin flakes all over the ground. Now, I'm not saying that this was just quail shit that had been dissolved into the dew and then dehydrated into wafers, but knowing this God... I'm not saying that.
Look, I don't know how hungry you've ever been, Dan, but I would eat that.
Quail wafers?
Yeah, for sure. If I don't have lunch by like 1:30, fuck it. I'll eat you.
Well, listen, the Israelites all looked at the flakes and were like, "What the fuck is that shit?" And Moses was like, "That's the bread the Lord promised." To which somebody was like, "No, the Lord promised bread falling from heaven. This is ground wafers. That's very different."
Yeah.
But they had to gather it up anyway and eat it. Then the Lord, as he do, gave insanely specific instructions as to how the ground wafers were to be gathered and dispersed. I don't want to get into all of it, but it ended up being that you have to get only enough for that day and don't save any of it except on the 6th day, and then you get 2 days worth, and then you don't get any on the 7th day. And if you get too much and try to save it on any other day that isn't the 6th day, like a smart person who has been starving in the desert.
Yes.
Then it will get maggots and start to stink, and everybody will be pissed at you.
Why?
Nope. Shut up.
Why?
Shut your whore mouth.
What is the lesson?
The worst part of being Jewish is how much you have to remember. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just...
Oh my God. It is so... Everything's rules.
And can you imagine the sound of a million people all going... spitting out little bits of sand?
Oh my God. So, just so you know, they called these shit crackers manna, which is probably from the Egyptian word mon, meaning what, as in, what the fuck is that? Literally, there's the theory is that it just means, what is this?
Right.
And then they just ended up calling it that.
I had always thought that it was literally like loaves of unleavened bread just plunking into the sand.
No.
From the sky.
Yeah, because that's what the Lord promised.
Right.
But the Lord did not deliver that.
Silly me.
He delivered dew-dried, thin crackers. So there you go. Anyway, this manna was apparently white and tasted like wafers of honey, according to the thing.
That's what quail shit tastes like. Copy that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all lived on that. Just that, I guess, because there hasn't been any talk of quail after that first night. So pretty much just those honey wafers for 40 fucking years.
God
It
damn.
specifically says that. 40 years of manna. I'm
astounded that God has the same kind of rule as the Olive Garden, where you shouldn't fill up on bread.
Right.
Right? Like, don't only eat enough for the day.
Nope. It's all carbs all day long.
Jesus Christ.
Or whatever it is.
I don't want to be a science stick about this, but, Triscuits made out of bird poo cannot sustain you only for 40 years. Like, that just can't be done, but fine. They're magic bird poo
Soylent
crackers.
White is made of people. It's made of people.
There you go.
It was white, by the way, apparently.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wafers of honey and okay. So then there's more wandering in the desert, and they get to another place with no water because you're fucking wandering in the desert.
Right.
And again, the people start complaining, and Moses, who is now just as big a gaslighter as God is, he's like, guys, why are you bugging me and testing the Lord like this? And they're like, because we're humans, and that happens to be one of the kinds of animals that die when we don't get water. And Moses is like, fine, I'll talk to God about it. God.
Oh.
Yeah, so, that nephew in some families who gets super into magic, and for several annoying years, every time there's a family gathering, he pulls some stunt where suddenly everybody's panicking because grandma's beloved prize-winning teacup poodle goes missing, and everybody searches the neighborhood for like 3 hours, and grandma's crying, and people are starting to scream at each other, and then the nephew finally goes, hey, wait, everybody, what's this in my hat? Well, that's the Lord in Exodus.
Sounds like a very specific example, Dan.
Yeah,
It was
I thought
Eli
my family
Bosnick.
was fucked
That was
up, but
Eli
damn.
Bosnick.
Did Eli do that?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say 100% yes.
I don't want to live in a world where Eli didn't do that.
Right? Exactly. You can tweet us, Eli, and let us know. He has Moses, the Lord has Moses grab his walking stick, the one that turned into a snake and turned the Nile into blood, etc., and strike a rock. And ta-da! Water starts flowing out. Wow, great trick, Lord. Now all of us million people will now wait our turns to stock up on rock water. Sweet.
Wow. So this was the first Iraq war. This is the first time he struck a rock.
Zing.
Oh! Oh!
Bang. Bango, boom, go. So here's the thing. I'm only just now getting us to Mount Sinai.
Holy
And
shiza.
we're running out of time. So I am going to do one more installment. I promise it's going to be the last one. I do want to mention, though, the geography of this shit.
Yeah.
For our Utah listeners, you'll all be able to sort of understand this. The full 40 years of their journey, according to a couple of biblical modern created biblical maps that I've looked at, would be roughly about the same. They covered about the same distance as if they went from Salt Lake City down to Beaver and then over to Ely, Nevada, and up to Wendover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've literally made that drive in a day.
Oh yeah, it's not 40 years of far.
No.
You can't the sun comes up in one direction and goes down in another. You can't be lost that long. It can't happen.
Well, and they weren't lost. They keep going to places with names.
Right.
So it's like they're not really, I don't know. What are they doing? What the fuck is happening? It's just so idiotic. And let me tell you something. At worst, and it's, we're talking about desert, so I picked a route that in Utah and Nevada would also be deserty.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just like, at most, if you took a bunch of people and you went real slow,
Yeah.
that takes 3 months.
I think outset, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So, or take 6 months. Take a fucking year.
yeah.
But 40 years, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
Especially if all you have to eat is bird shit honey crackers.
And in case we haven't mentioned it enough in these first 3 segments, there is no evidence to support this ever happening.
Oh, this did not happen. We have to reiterate.
First of all, Egypt did not have slaves. But this is such a foundational story to so much of at least 2 religions' belief.
Right.
It's the state of Israel is founded on this myth, right? And there is no evidence that 1 million people wandered around this place for 40 years.
And your run-of-the-mill Christians and Jews 100% believe that this is historical fact.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we will get to, next week, the question of why these people believe themselves to be chosen in any way after this God has treated them this badly.
Yeah, and they haven't reciprocated very well either. Let's be honest. They just keep kind of forgetting about him.
Yeah, so we will get to that. Next week, we will talk a lot about some cows made of gold and a few very lesser known, only 10 of these little commandment things. Apparently, nobody's ever heard of them.
Never heard of them.
It's the best part of the 10 Commandments film is when the women are on top of the golden calf throwing flower petals out over everyone. I'm so excited.
So we'll get there next week. But until then, let's just move along.
Oof. Well, friends, that is it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you can't find your way out of this thing just like us, leave us a voicemail about it, 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. You can also say hey to me on Twitter at howtoheretic.
And thanks and much love to our patrons.
And thanks to Cody Layton for editing the show.
And thank all of you for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Goodbye.